FDA advisors unanimously recommended the birth control pill, O-pill, to be available over the counter without a prescription. If the FDA goes through with the recommendation, it would be the first birth control pill available over the counter in the U.S.
Joining us now to talk about it, our 9 Health expert, Dr. Kohli. So let's talk about it. You look at some of the studies, you look at the science, but also the social sciences. What impact might this have? What are the projections as far as unwanted pregnancies in the United States?
You know, one of the reasons I think this happened now is because we're seeing a growing number of unintended pregnancies. In fact, half of all pregnancies are thought to be unintended or unplanned. And as of 2021, about half of women are saying that they've had at least one barrier to access reproductive medications. And so I think combining those two together really sort of raises this issue to the forefront that now is the time more than ever. Now layer this all on the background of the Roe versus Wade overturning that just occurred. And as it is, you know, planning and family planning has now become very important when it comes to talking about it with our patients and our providers.
And you mentioned Roe v. Wade. That's the first place my mind goes, right? Is like women's reproductive rights are being limited every day in every state in this country, for the most part. Access to this pill over the counter has got to be a huge step, but is it safe? Like, how does this pill work? Is it any different than what we would get from our providers?
And that's one of the reasons I think this is really going to be paradigm shifting, because it's the FDA saying that women and patients in particular can take their sort of care into their own hands and be responsible. Now, I'm glad you asked me about the safety, because the safety is a potential concern. We've had years and years of experience with progestin-only pills, and that's what this is, progestin only. And they're incredibly safe, even if you mix up the dose. Now, just like with anything, whether it's Tylenol or Benadryl or anything available over the counter, excess doses can be dangerous. Dosed inappropriately can be dangerous. But if you follow the directions on the bottle, which is pretty straightforward, take one tablet once a day, it is generally very safe.
It's interesting to think of this because there is clearly science involved in this, medical science that's being discussed here. But this is really more about social United States politics, red, blue, all this stuff is going to be the biggest part of this, isn't it? It always has been.
It is, but I really hope we can stay on the science part, Tom, where it's implementation science. Because getting a medication, getting anything to a patient doesn't just mean writing the prescription, it means them having access to it. And we know that historically low-income women, Black women as well, have had limited health care. And so if you need a doctor's prescription to get this medication, this is really going to change implementation science by allowing them to access it and make their own decisions. The flip side of this, however, is really literacy, health literacy. How much do patients who are using this understand? And in particular, my mind goes to our adolescents and our teenage patients who might start going and taking this type of thing without their parents knowing. Are they going to be able to understand the label, read it, and really use it in a safe fashion?
So there is no age limit to who can get this pill?
There is no age limit. If this goes through, and it hasn't quite come through the FDA yet, but this summer they're going to vote on it. These are the advisors that voted on it. Generally, they do what the advisors say, but if it comes through, it'll be available over the summer in pharmacies.
According to the FDA, you can expect legal challenges. When would you realistically expect to see it on counters or store shelves?
I mean, I am hopeful of this summer. I do think that there's going to be a lot of pushback because this is going to be a political issue. It's not going to stay just medical or just scientific. I also think we really have to educate people, if we're going to start giving people these medications in their hands, that it's not 100%. With average use, 9 out of 100 women will get pregnant with progestin-only pills. If you use it perfectly every single day at the exact same time, 1 out of 100 will get pregnant. So I think that's an important piece of getting this into people's hands. And then, of course, there's side effects, like with every medication. So you want to educate them about the side effects. You want to educate them how it works. You know, it thickens their cervical mucus so that sperm's less likely to get in. It thins the lining of their uterus, but that means they can have breakthrough bleeding, and they can have spotting, and they can have things that women might worry about if they start taking this medication.
As always, a lot to consider. We'll continue to follow it as well. We look forward to talking about it down the road. Thank you very much, Dr. Kohli.